Edward, the Great Western engine, loved pulling passengers on the main line. Like Bethany, Christopher, Deborah, and Wyatt, Edward always wants to prove that he was the fastest engine on the South Roman Railway. When he does that, this ends up causing him into a lot of confusion and delays, and it would get him into trouble. But Edward knew that he would never be doing the same thing he used to ever again, because he had lots of passengers to take to and from all the stations. One morning, Miss Lindsay came to the sheds. She had important news for the engines. Dexter had broken down and he will be sent to the works to be mended. Because he had a broken boiler, he will be there for quite a while. So, in other words, I've sent a new engine that will take his place on his branch line. Her name is Daphne, and you must all give her a comfortable welcome. It's because a happy engine is a useful engine. Well, I'm glad that it's about time we got a new engine. At least Ashley was a new engine ever since a year ago she had just arrived. I hope I'd love to meet Daphne. She could be a very nice and smart engine like I am. I agreed. Maybe she could be a heavy goods engine like me too, but we don't know about that yet. We all just had to find out what kind of an engine she is. Later, Edward was taking on water at the shunting yards. He had finished taking passengers and was looking forward to a nice drink. Then he saw the yard manager walking up to him. The bridge ahead is unsafe. Edward, you must cut a piece of iron so the bridge can be repaired. Of course, sir. I'll do that right away. Soon, Edward had collected the iron and headed off on his way to the bridge. When he passed the yard, he saw a new engine that he'd never seen before. The new engine was a Scottish engine, and she wears a bright, beautiful pink coat with red stripes. Hello, you must be Daphne. Is there something wrong? Oh, hello there. I'm just upset because of that diesel telling me that I should never work on the branch lines with Stanier. She says that I've bumped the coaches on purpose when I didn't even mean to do that. I've tried to explain to her that it was an accident and my wheels seemed to be slipping on the rails when I just got here. But she just doesn't care, and then she rolls away. This really hurts my feelings. She's been treating me. Oh dear. I think you mean Ashley. She is the diesel shunter who works in the yards. She could be quite stubborn like I used to be a long time ago. But I'm sure she means well once you get to know her. Take my advice and just ignore her if she starts a problem with you again. It's better that way. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Oh, my name's Edward, and that pink color of yours looks smart, and it reminds me of my old friend who wears the same coat. Oh, thank you, Edward. That's very kind of you. Anytime. Now, I must go deliver this iron for the bridge. It needs some repairs in time for the engines to cross. So now that you're here, I must warn you not to go there until it's finished. I see. Well, thank you for telling me this, Edward. Meanwhile, Tanner puffed into the big station with the local passenger train. Hello, Tanner. Why the long face? It's that new engine Davany. She had bumped into my coaches when she came into the yard earlier today. Oh? Why is that? Because as soon as I got back from getting on more coal from the bunker, I saw what she did. And then she had been nothing but trouble by saying that my coaches should be turned into an old shed so it would be better for road vehicles to rest instead of passengers. Oh dear, that doesn't sound like Daphne at all. Why would she say such a thing like that? I don't know, but I believe Ashley told me this. Now, if I were you, Hayley, I would tell everyone not to go near her, because she'll be saying rude things about us next time she starts to cause more trouble. Alright then, Tanner, if you say so. Hayley wasn't sure about this. She knew Tanner had a point about Davany, which it wasn't true. She didn't know that Ashley was spreading lies about her. As soon as Tanner puffed away, Bethany arrived. "Hey, Bethany, have you heard what happened with Davany and the new engine today?" "No, I haven't, Hayley. What is it?" Hayley then explained everything about it. Then, Bethany met Deborah at the junction and told her about what Hayley had said. "Are you sure? That doesn't sound like Davany at all." "Sure, I am sure, Deborah. But just to let you know that she's been saying rude things about us engines, so you don't go talk to her." "Well, alright then. Thanks for the heads up." Then Deborah met Wyatt at the red signal and told him about Davany. "Okay, who told you that?" "Well, Bethany told me, and Hayley told Bethany, and those two must have heard about what happened from Tanner, who believes that Ashley tells him." "Oh dear, that doesn't look good. Thanks for telling me, Deborah." Meanwhile, Edward puffed into the siding at Henrietta Town Station. Miss Lindsay was waiting there. "Edward, you must warn all the engines not to cross the bridge until it's repaired." "Yes, ma'am." Edward was very proud of his important job. Then he heard a whistle in the distance. Edward knew that he must warn the other engines, including Daphne, about the bridge. Davany came puffing in. "Hello, Daphne. I see you're pulling Dexter's coach's Indian Dolly the first time without giving them a bump. Is everything alright with you today?" "Everything's good, Edward. Those two had cheered me up to go steady along to take passengers, so I've learned not to bump the coaches again after that accident." "That's right. She's doing better too." "That's good. I'm glad to hear that." Just then, Wyatt came bustling in with the express. "Oi, Daphne, I've got a bone to pick with you." "Oh, hello there. What's going on?" "Don't what's going on me, young lady. You know what's going on today. I've heard that you're giving the coaches a horrible jolt at the yards to make Tanner late, collecting them for his passengers." "But it was an accident." "It was not an accident. You did it on purpose. Shame on a selfish newcomer like yourself to give the rally a bad name, and Miss Lindsay will sure have to find out what you've done." Edward was shocked to hear this coming from Wyatt, but Davany was very upset. The conductor blew his whistle, and the poor Scottish engine puffed away. "What? Wyatt, what on earth is that for? You really have to shout at Daphne like that, and her feelings were hurt so badly." "That's because she's been nothing but trouble, and she had biffed the coaches too hard to make a brake pipe leaking all of a sudden." "Hey, that wasn't an accident, Wyatt. I can assure you." "And how did you know it was an accident, Edward? You don't seem to know what's going on." "Oh, really? Then where did you hear that Davany had bumped the coaches on purpose?" "Well, Deborah told me. Bethany told her. Hayley told her, and then Tanner told Hayley about when Ashley told him about Daphne. The four of us big engines have heard what happened when she's been given the rally a bad name ever since she came here." "That is not true. Do you really want to know? Daphne told me that how Ashley had been treating her. Then when she tried to explain to her, she just tells her that she wouldn't be working with Tanner on the branch line while Dexter was being repaired. She was upset because of this. Accidentally on purpose, Ashley had used her term to start trouble against her." "Oh, if Daphne didn't mean to do it on purpose, then whose fault was that?" "It's nobody's fault, Wyatt, but Ashley was the one to blame. That's because she started to spread some rumors about her. That's when it comes from you and the other engines." Wyatt was speechless. He didn't know what to say. Just then, the station master approached the two engines. "I've just received a phone call from Miss Lindsay. Davany has had an accident at the sidings. Thankfully, the passengers were alright, but Davany didn't watch where she was going because she ran into the buffers and smashed it. Do you think you can help her, Edward? Of course, sir. I'll do my best. Now, if you don't mind, Wyatt, I've got to help Daphne. She seems to be in trouble. I hope you remember what I just told you about those false stories that are made up about her. Edward soon found Daphne stuck at the end of the sidings. Daphne looked very upset and was still crying. Her driver and farmer were there to assure her everything's going to be alright. Edward took the passengers away and came back with the breakdown train. Soon Daphne was back on the rails. Luckily, her buffers were not damaged, so Edward took her to the sheds that evening. Miss Lindsay was waiting. I am very pleased that Daphne didn't damage herself because of the accident with the buffers earlier today, but I am not pleased with any of you. Whoever spread those rumors about her would cause a lot of confusion and would be severely punished for their actions. Now, which one of you who did that? All the engines looked at Ashley. Ashley gulped, knowing that everyone was glaring at her. Miss Lindsay was very cross. I've heard from Edward that you've been telling the other engines about what Daphne did was extremely wrong, Ashley. Now, just because she had accidentally bumped the coaches, doesn't mean you would make up a silly rumor about her. Now, because Dexter is still at the works, you will have to do his work as well as your own. Even you can start shunting in the yards for a whole week. I hope this will teach you not to be rude towards newcomers, especially Daphne. Miss Lindsay walked sternly away. Ashley felt bad. The other engines felt bad too. We're really sorry for believing those lies about you, Daphne. Yes, it was incredibly selfish of us for what we've listened to. We hope you understand that we'll never listen to the silly rumors again. Yeah. And I'm sorry too for believing that you bumped the coaches on purpose. That's okay, everyone. I'm feeling calm now. And now that I'm safe and sound, it was all thanks to Edward for helping me back on track. I wouldn't have been better if it wasn't for him. It was nothing. I just stood up for a friend. Davany eventually took Dexter's spot of the sheds to spend the night with the engines. She was nervous at first, but once Ashley apologized for her contribution and for spreading rumors about her, she kindly forgave her, and soon she and the other engines started chatting into the night like old friends. A few days later, when Dexter came back, he and Davany met at the big station, and they were preparing to leave with their trains. Davany works really hard along the branch line, and she was very happy to be working with all the engines, especially her two new friends Dexter and Tanner that she was located on their branch line.